All right, let's dive into this really incredible pitch for a comic that does something I've always wanted to see. It fuses the epic, cosmic scale of gods with the suffocating terror of a psychological ghost story, and it's called Dark Hollow.
So, at its core, the idea is so simple, but wow, is it powerful. You take a character who has just immense universe-shattering power. We're talking Grail, the daughter of Darkseid, and you trap her. But you don't trap her in some cosmic prison. No, you drop her right into a small, intimate, and deeply personal ghost story.
And this right here, this really visualizes the central tension of the entire series. On one side, you've got the vast, almost operatic scale of the New Gods, and on the other, the claustrophobic, psychological dread of a single haunted town. You see, this isn't going to be your typical DC adventure. It's a deliberate mashup of genres, and it's designed to create something completely new and utterly terrifying.
This idea of her being transplanted is absolutely key. The series is explicitly designed for DC's Black Label, which means it exists completely outside of the main DC continuity. And look, that isn't just a small detail, it's the whole point. There is no Justice League swooping in to help. That freedom is essential because the story needs Grail to be totally and completely isolated. It forces her to confront these horrors on her own terms, a million miles away from the world she thought she knew.
So you might think, okay, she's a hero, she'll handle it, but here's the crucial twist. Her heroic code, that Amazonian morality she inherited, it completely and utterly fails her. It's not just useless, it's catastrophically insufficient. It leads to this devastating failure and forces her into a terrifying personal transformation.
And that failure brings us to the central question that drives her entire story. I mean, think about it. When brute force doesn't work, when your hero's code means absolutely nothing, what's left? How do you possibly fight something that doesn't just want to kill your body, but wants to dismantle your very soul?
Well, that question forces her down a new path, a brutal, four-stage process. First, she has to confront her own inadequacy. Then, she has to reevaluate everything she believes in, and this means consciously embracing the dark heritage of her father, Darkseid. From there, she starts to learn how to master the raw, amoral power of the town, not as a hero, but as something else. And finally, she emerges as the Ubermensch, a being with a self-defined morality, forged in pure existential fire.
Now, to really get what's going on in Dark Hollow, you have to understand this concept, the will to power. The monsters here, the spirits, they aren't evil in the way we usually think about it. They're raw, amoral manifestations of this philosophical drive that exists beyond our simple human concepts of good and bad.
And this is where the genius of the series really shines. It doesn't just lecture you about some dense philosophy. No, it makes that philosophy visceral. It makes it terrifying. It takes an abstract concept like the will to power and turns it into a concrete, tangible nightmare that you can actually see and feel.
Just take the spirit lobotomy. I mean, what a horrifying idea. It's a procedure that makes this philosophical threat chillingly real. A spectral lantern literally strips a person of their morality, their identity, everything. It doesn't kill them, it just hollows them out, leaving behind a vessel of pure primal will. Grail can't punch her way out of this. She has to learn to master the very force behind it.
The other huge philosophical idea that gets weaponized in this story is eternal recurrence. You know, it's that concept that time is basically a flat circle, and everything you've ever done, good or bad, you are going to do it again forever.
And in Dark Hollow, this isn't some thought experiment. It is the central ghost story. The town's victims aren't just dead. They are trapped in this agonizing, unbreakable loop, forced to relive their worst moments, their own suffering, for all of eternity. So Grail's ultimate test isn't just to defeat some monster, but to somehow break this fundamental, agonizing cycle.
But here's the thing, her transformation, this brutal journey into becoming something that's beyond a hero or a villain, it isn't just about her own survival. It actually has a much, much larger purpose. You see, she isn't just surviving this hellscape and, drawing a map for other people to avoid it. She's creating something new, a guide. It's like an existential operating manual for a universe that's defined by cosmic indifference. She's forging a new mythology, a way to not just face these horrors, but to actually master them.
And that right there, that is the ultimate gift of her terrible, terrible journey. Her story becomes this philosophical guide born from surviving absolute soul-crushing horror. It's all about that fundamental struggle, the struggle to create meaning when the universe itself is telling you there is none.
So the series leaves all of us with a final, really provocative question. If everything you believed in, your entire moral framework, turned out to be completely useless in the face of true horror, what would you build to replace it?